I'm Dr. Michael Obsatz. I'm a professor emeritus from Macalester College. I taught at Macalester, a small liberal arts college in St. Paul, for 40 years. I also did a private practice of counseling and also workshops all over the country and beyond. The workshops were very often about being healthy, growing, maximizing your potential, getting along in the world. So I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the ways that it's helpful to understand the world. We like to think that we're in control of things all the time because it gives us a feeling of security and safety. But in reality, we're not in control of certain things. And there's a really great book by David Richo called The 5 Things We Cannot Change that has been really helpful for me. And one of the 5 things we cannot change is that everything changes and everything ends. And we have to learn to accept the reality that no matter how things are at a present time, it is going to change or it is going to end. The second thing we have to learn is that there is suffering as a part of life, that nobody gets through life without some kind of suffering, some kind of pain, some kind of disappointment, some kind of loss. So once we accept that, what we need to do is acknowledge our suffering, help other people who are suffering, and realize that we can recover from that, but it is a part of life. Third thing is that life isn't always fair, that things don't always turn out in a way that feels fair. But maybe in the long run, there is a fairness that we don't completely understand. But it can seem like you put out a lot of energy in a certain way and the payback is very small. Or you really trust somebody and then you get hurt and disappointed. So life isn't fair, but the key is to be fair yourself as much as possible and to do the right thing as much as you can. Another thing that we have to accept that we cannot change is that things don't always go according to plan. That we can plan things, and it's good to plan things, but we have to be open to the idea that plans aren't always going to work out. So we very often have to have a backup plan or an acceptance that whatever was going on didn't turn out the way we thought it should turn out. And being flexible about planning is very, very helpful, or you can get too disappointed and too bummed out. The last thing that we cannot change is that people aren't always loving and loyal. That people will hurt us sometimes. That we make our best choices to be with people who care about us, but sometimes it turns out that they don't, or they leave, or they're disloyal, or they're not nice, or they're negative, or they hurt us. And we have to accept that that's going to happen some of the time and learn how to forgive and also move on. So that's a very important thing to learn. When people think they can control everything, what happens is when something comes up that they can't control, they have a kind of a scared reaction, which can result in a person trying to numb themselves in a certain way or get high. So a lot, I believe, of drug use and attempts to change your state of mind by using some kind of chemical is that a person does that when they don't feel capable of coping with what is going on. If you can accept 5 things that cannot change and learn some coping skills, you probably don't need to use a substance to feel better, because you accept the idea that life is going to be challenging and interesting and bumpy some of the time.